Hello netizens, welcome to my YouTube channel Bangladesh to get the latest videos on ELT, TESOL, TEFL, Linguistics and Applied Linguistics. This is Loed, Chairman IELTS and Head of Linguistics Bangladesh with Introduction to ELT Course Part 1B. This video is on characteristics and features of language. In this video, you will also learn about definition, meaning, features, and 18 major characteristics of language. So this video is very important and helpful for you. Learn English, buy English. I always maintain international standard of pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and accentuation in my English. Keep watching my English medium videos to learn English properly. Let's get started. What is language? Languages are a means of communication and expression of our thought, idea, and senses, as they help us in putting our thoughts into words, and communication plays a quintessential role in our lives. According to Benjamin Lee Whorf, language shapes the way we think and determines what we can think about. The etymology and meaning of language. The word language is derived from the Latin word lingua or lingue, which means produced with the tongue. Hence, language means a thing which is produced with tongue. Let's see some of the definitions by linguists. George Lee Traeger. Language is the set of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group operates, communicates, and expresses their emotion, feelings, and desire. Edward Spear. Language is a purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desire by means of system of voluntarily produced symbols. Main features and functions of language. Michael Halliday, 2003, stated that a language has regulatory, interactional, representational, personal, imaginative, instrumental, and heuristic function and capability of its own. If you are a student of language, you must have to learn the characteristics and features of language. Language is the most powerful and dominant system of communication. In addition, language is the system of conventional spoken and written symbols using which human beings communicate with each other from one country to another country or one culture to another culture. It is the best ways to express emotions, thoughts, feelings, and desires. With the change of time, language is also being changed in its form. Language is human, so it differs from animal communication in a few different ways. Every language has its own characteristics and objectives. However, let us know the major characteristics of the language in brief. Language is productive, creative, symbolic, systematic, vocalic, social, non-instinctive, arbitrary, and conventional. Language is a system of communication, and language is human, structurally complex, and modifiable. Now, I'll be talking about the major characteristics of a language. The 18 characteristics of a language are given below. Please read carefully for proper understanding about language. Number 1. Language is a social phenomenon. In a sense, language should be considered a social phenomenon. Language is social that exists in our human society. It is a means of nourishing and developing culture and establishing human relations. As a member of a particular social group, we human beings interact with each other, which allows us to identify with one another as well as to connect and coordinate with one another. This is how language is the part and parcel of our society. Language exists in the public is a method of feeding and creating a society and sets up human relations. As a member of society, we acquire a language permanently. Number 2, language is a symbolic system. Language signifies a symbolic system. It consists of different types of graphemes and sound symbols for concepts, things, ideas, objects, etc. Language has sounds and words as their symbols. These symbols are picked up, routinely acknowledged and utilized. The words in a language are not just patterns or images but symbols that denote meaning. The language uses words essentially as symbols and not as signs for the concept presented by them. The core value of language sometimes relies on the true explanation of these symbols. Number 3, language is vocal, verbal and sound. Language is a system of vocal and verbal symbolism. It is essentially comprised of vocal sounds just created by a physiological articulatory component in the human body. First and foremost, it shows up as vocal sound only. Language takes verbal elements such as sounds, words and phrases which are fixed up in certain ways to make several sentences. Number 4, language is arbitrary. Language is undoubtedly arbitrary as there is no inherent connection between the nature of things or concepts the language deals with. There is no reason why a single term produced differently by different communities. The decisions of a word choose to mean a specific thing or idea is absolutely arbitrary. It might be noticed that if a language is not been arbitrary, there would have been just a single language remained throughout the world. Number 5, language is systematic. Language is a system like a human body. It works through sounds, words and functions. Although the language is symbolic, its symbols are arranged in specific systems. All languages have their arrangement of plans. Each language is an arrangement of phonetics, morphological and syntactic systems. Number 6, language is non-instructive and conventional. Language is the result of social advancement and tradition. Every age transmits this tradition onto the following. Like every single human organization, languages may also change and pass on, develop and extend. Each language has a circulation in a particular community around the globe. Number 7, language is productive and creative. Language has its own efficacy and innovativeness. The auxiliary components of human language join to create new expressions. Language can be changed as indicated by the necessity of human society. After all, language has the power of productivity and creativity. Number 8, language is a system of communication. Language is strong, convenient and the best form of communication for no doubt. It is the best way to express everything. It is through language that we human beings express our thoughts, desires, emotions and feelings. Further, we can interact with each other easily through the welfare of language. After all, we may say that language is the best system of communications around the world. Number 9, language is human and structurally complex. Human language is open-minded, extendable and modifiable in contrary to animal language. Language should be modifiable from time to time. No species other than human beings have been endowed with language. So we can say that language is naturally human and in some cases structurally complex and modifiable. Number 10, language is learned. Language is not a born activity as crying and walking. We are to learn the language by imitation and practice. It is not an automatic process. Number 11, language is the acquired behavior. Language is acquired behavior. If a baby or a man is shifted to another community or cultural group, we acquire the language spoken by that cultural community. Number 12, language is ever-changing and dynamic. No language on earth is static. Every language is undergoing changes in its grammar, vocabulary, structure, and phonology. Number 13, language is based on cultural experiences. Every language is a product of particular society and culture. In each language, there are words that show the specific culture of that community. Number 14, language is made of habits. A person can be said to have learned a language when he can speak it without any conscious effort. No language can be learned without a sufficient practice. A language is known by use and not by rules learning. A language is a process of habit formation. Number 15, language is unique and idialect. Each language is unique. No two languages are alike. They cannot have the same set of patterns of structures, sound, or grammatical rules. Language is also idialect. It means that it has its own individual characteristics, as no two people speak exactly in the same way. There are variations in voice, pitch, speech, and rhythm. Number 16, language is universal. Without language, all trade and communication systems will stop. Language is universal as it is used in each and every country of the world. Number 17, language is heterogeneous. Language contains words from other languages. That is why it is called heterogeneous in nature. Number 18, language is unique, complex, and modifiable. Language is indeed a unique phenomenon in the world. Every language has its own characteristics and distinctive features. Furthermore, each language has its own creativity and productivity to deliver the best ways to communicate with each other. And this is how language has its own potentiality to be unique, complex, and modifiable by the change of time and culture. Conclusion. After the above discussion, we conclude that these characteristics of a language are part and parcel to build the authenticity of any language. Thank you.